Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll be talking the V-22 Osprey, the tiltrotor vertical takeoff landing aircraft from the United States military. Please remember to like and subscribe. Alright, fact 1, not just Marines. As you may know, the V-22 Osprey is heavily used by the United States Marines. They've chosen this aircraft to replace all of the helicopters they used to use, because as you can see, this aircraft can function both as a propeller plane, a conventional aircraft, or a helicopter and do vertical takeoffs and landings. And so because it has the helicopter capability of getting to a combat zone with no runway and quickly extract or deploy personnel, it could easily replace any kind of helicopter. And as a bonus, once it reaches high in the air and the rotors are tilted forward, as you see here, it becomes an aircraft and is able to fly long distances at high altitude, as compared to a helicopter, which would not be able to do such a thing. And so, as a result, not just the Marines use it, the Air Force and the Navy all like to use this aircraft to get in and out of areas where may not be the runway available. And so, as you know now, this is not just for the Marines, even though most of the use is by the Marines. Alright, fact 2, no fixed armament. Another incredibly interesting part about this aircraft is that there's really no fixed armaments on this aircraft. There's no missile pods, there's no fixed guns, and so it's really just a transport aircraft, if you will. Of course, you could always fix guns on this thing, and as an example, you could fix the M240 machine gun or the 50 caliber M2 machine gun on the rear loading ramp, so that you could provide some covering fire when the military personnel is jumping off the aircraft or getting onto the aircraft. It is very interesting that this type of aircraft does not have any self-defense capabilities, because it's gonna fly into combat zones, and if it only relies on a gunner in the rolling ramp, it's pretty susceptible to damage if you think about it. So I'm very surprised that they have not anti-aircraft or anti-surface missile weapon systems to defend itself. Alright, fact 3, 500 nautical mile range. This particular aircraft also doesn't have a very long range. Because of the rotor design and the fact that it needs a lot of fuel in order to operate, and also the fact that most of the aircraft is accommodating equipment and personnel, as the main purpose of this aircraft is transporting people and cargo, there's not too much room for a large fuel tank. And as a result, despite the fact that it could get high in the air and fly like a traditional propeller plane, it doesn't have that long of a range. However, it is capable of air refueling, so that it could keep going and fly to its destination without having to land. I think they could think about having external fuel tanks on this aircraft for long distance journeys as well. Okay, let's get into the next fact. Fact 4, the Japanese Army. As I mentioned in previous sections, the V-22 Osprey is a United States military aircraft. However, there's one single country in the world that shares this aircraft in their military, and that is the Japanese Self-Defense Ground Force, or the Japanese Army. When they were evaluating their helicopter designs and coming out with next generation helicopter aircrafts, they also considered the V-22 Osprey, and realizing because, again, this aircraft is both a helicopter and a traditional airplane, it is blowing all other helicopter designs out of the water. No other helicopter design can come close to this much versatility and functionality. As a result, they asked the United States military and Department of Defense to allow them to also procure the V-22 Osprey, and it was granted. In fact, the Japanese is the only other operator in the world besides the United States. They have 2 delivered, 3 on order, and plans for 12 more. However, Japan also has doubts because despite the fact that they like this and have begun procuring and deploying these aircrafts, there was problems because these aircrafts are so loud. And the original area, the Saga prefecture where the aircraft was to be based, had a lot of protests from its residents. And so, unfortunately, although the Japanese self-defense force wants these aircraft, it seems like they don't have a place to store or deploy them. At the time of this video, they have stored them at the Kirazuru airfield, and they plan to use them on helicopter base pad destroyers. Alright, let's get the next and final fact: one engine operation. Because this aircraft, as we mentioned in the previous section, doesn't have any defense armament except maybe a couple machine guns on the loading ramp, it needs to take consideration taking enemy fire and damaging its airframes, and also its engines and rotors as well. So on this aircraft, there's a whole suite of highly redundant avionics systems, electronic systems, and the engine itself. Although it has two engines during normal operations, the two rotors can actually be powered by just one single engine. That's right, the designers of this aircraft decided that if one engine is destroyed by enemy fire and the other one is still functional, you can't really have just one propeller spinning. That would cause the aircraft to really unable to have a stable flight. So as a result, they've engineered it so that one engine could spin both propellers at the same time. That way, it gives the Marines or the Air Force or the Navy a chance to get out of the combat zone and fly back to safety. Alright, that's it for my video today. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.